Welcome to part 12 in my series of tutorials about making models for trains in Gmax, and we're back with our two animated sets of driving wheels in our purely fictitious train engine locomotive. Far too big the wheels are. Anyway, just to show. Now the next piece we have to make is the, I'm not sure of its name, it goes from this axle down and it has a little stub, and we fit the connecting rods to it. So you'll recognise the shape when I start making it. I'm going to make a circle. Okay. And I'm going to make another circle. Rather, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that to an editable spline, and then I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to move the clone down, and I'm going to scale it. There's several ways you could do this, but this is just one of them. Okay, I think about there actually, and then we'll move it back up a bit to give us, you'll recognise the shape I'm sure. And then I'm going to make a rectangle that's going to run across there down to there, and I'm going to convert that into an editable spline as well. And I'm going to select it and the two circles, and I'm going to hide the rest. So we're just left with these. Now with these, as they're now editable splines, I can delete the bits I don't want, which is the lower half of that circle and the upper half, I think I'm right, yes, the upper half of this circle. And on the rectangle I shall delete that segment and that segment, and on these vertices what I shall do is move this one on the x-axis only towards here, not quite touching. And on the y-axis I'm going to move it down, oops, that's the x-axis. On the y-axis I'm going to move it down to there, and then back to the x and move it across. Okay, so we've got an overlap there. So on this one I'm going to use another tool here, which is refine, and that allows me to insert another vertex just there, and I'm going to put another one over there, and then that means I've split that segment into two, so I can come back, I can delete that segment and that segment, and then back over here I shall pick up that vertex and move it over and slide down, so they're more or less meeting up okay. Right, and I shall then convert this vertex into a, well, it's already set as a Bezier corner, so that's fine, that's all I need. What I shall do then is I shall attach a number. I shall use the attach and attach this one and this one all together, so in fact they now make up one disconnected spline, and they've all gone back the colour of the middle one, so let's make that a bit more obvious. Dark blue, that will stand out a fair bit, and I'm sure you're beginning to recognise the shape. If we go into vertices, we've actually got two there, so we can weld those two together, and those, and we'll also weld those like that. Then all we have to do is to adjust. And adjust. Okay. More or less right. It's perhaps a little, needs to be a little bit tidied up there. Normally I'll be working from the original to give us this. Okay, and we'll make it, we'll then extrude it 3 inches. Let's have a look, see what we've got. There it is, and let's unhide all, and it's down in the middle there. So we shall now take it out, and take it out to the left here, beyond the wheel. Maybe you'll begin to see what it is, because the next thing we do is we'll extend this cylinder group, so ungroup it all, and we'll edit this cylinder here and extend it out to the left, so it punches through the mesh we've just created. Like that. You can see over here. Just click away, it's punched through. And we're now going to select it and clone it, and no, we'll not do that, let's delete the clone. What we do is we'll texture it first, save time, and we want the frames texture, so we go into that, unwrap, edit. Oh, my goodness, would you look at that, loads of polys, zillions and zillions, not much we can do about that. There we are, and we've given it a slightly lighter texture to the rest, just to give us a bit of apparent variety in the greys. And now we can clone it, and okay, and we will align it there, over there. Okay, and we can also then move up here and extend this cylinder so it punches through. Normally I would make sure that these cylinders, the axles, are exactly the same length, and of course we're going to have to do this on the other side, but I'm just demonstrating here. So there we are, and now we want, if we look at the animation, the wheels turn around, put on our new addition. So we'll select this one and we will link it to display subtrees. We want this one over here. So which one is that? Axle 01, that's good. So we're going to link it to Axle 01, link. And if we want to make doubly sure that it is linked, we just display the subtrees. And there's Axle 01, cancel that because we've actually got this selected. Just going to collapse that down to a poly. And now if we look here, display in Axle 1 and linked. Okay, this is of course the eccentric crank. I know it's that because I've looked it up, and we've connected it to this dummy axle, BR Axle 01. So if we switch on the animation, we can see it's turning because the dummy is turning, to which it's linked, but this one over here hasn't been linked yet to that dummy, so it's just standing still. So if we just select this one and link it and select Axle 02, let's have a look at the subtree. So it's in there, all those. There's more there than there because actually that represents an ungrouped lot of meshes. So let's link it and now try the animation again, and it doesn't turn. Oh, that's brilliant. What's the problem there? There it is. and we want it linked to this one. Link, and there we are, we saw that. And now, oh well, I don't know what that was. Anyway, there we are. I'm not hiding anything from you, I'm showing you exactly how as it happens. Now an important thing to remember about a steam locomotive is that the crank on the other side, the eccentric on the other side, isn't just up the top, so that when this one is down the bottom, that one's up the top, because actually the locomotive sees up. So what you do to avoid that is we're going to clone this one, edit, clone, okay, and wherever it is on the x-axis we're going to minus, we're going to move it over to plus, so it's on the other side, but we can't leave it there. What we've got to do, if you imagine, just have a look at the animation, and there it is, it's actually going around that way, and it's just the same as that, and it's animated to turn at the same, it's in the same position, and it's because you cloned it from this one, which is connected to the dummy, it carries on that connection for the new one. The cloned copy is also connected to the dummy. Well, that's alright, we don't mind that, but it's obviously not how we want it, because when the coupling rod, sorry, the connecting rod is, I keep calling it coupling rod, connecting rod is down the bottom, the one on the right hand side, let's just check the direction we're going in here, yeah, so that one has to be a quarter in advance of this one. It's called quartering. So for this one, what we want to do is, first of all, we want to affect the pivot, and it's already centered, but what we're going to do is we're going to affect the pivot only, a different sort of assessment here, or a different movement here, and we're going to use the align, and we're going to align the pivot on the dummy. One axle is probably better, maybe the cylinder. So let's have a look how it aligns it. Not that way, not worried about that. Up. So now that's now aligned. It will rotate. Its rotating point is now the center of the cylinder, which means if we go into the rotation tool and rotate it by the x-axis, and we want to rotate it 90 degrees, make sure your toggle is set for 5-degree increments, and that's in advance of that one, so we're going to go to the left. You see what's happening? It's actually rotating on the center of the cylinder, not on the center of the mesh, and that's because we've aligned it in that way. And now if we click on the rotation, take it back, take it a frame at a time, you'll see that they're now rotating, they're fixed, but they're rotating. One is 90 degrees in front of the other, one on the right hand side. And so that's quartering. That's really quite important, I think. And we can do the same without having to muck about with cloning this one. We'll just try it by cloning this one. Edit, clone, okay, and we'll center it on this axle here. That's a bit of the axle, so we'll hit that, and maybe it's the Y position. Yeah, there it is, look. But the only problem is, of course, is that it is linked still to this dummy. So first of all we have to unlink it, and there's the unlink button up here, top left. I'll unlink it, and to check that, if we look at the subtree, there's the two axles, and in the hierarchy this one isn't connected to any, isn't indented. That means it's not attached to any axle, any of the dummies, BR axle 01 or BR axle 02. And it's the one that we want here, there it is, there's the dummy, it's BR axle 02. So simply, having unlinked it from this one, we're now going to link it. Link button, select BR axle 02, and when we hit link we should see this just flash a moment. There we are, and it shows that it's linked. So now if we rotate it, set the animation going, they're both rotating, but there's a problem here because this isn't positioned correctly on the axle, unlike this one. thought we carried the pivot over. Maybe not. Let's go back to where it should be. So it should be centered on the axle. Not very strange. That's correctly aligned. Let's check this. Effect pivot. Yeah, the pivot's in the correct place. Why isn't it centering up there? Very odd. Try aligning it with this one, with the dummy. And it's not the X one. It should be the Y. Z doesn't make any difference. How very strange. So let's center it to the mesh. That may have been the problem. It wasn't aligned to the world. And then let's affect the pivot only, and let's align it to the dummy, which is, we know, is centered on the so the whole thing, the position of the whole thing is wrong now. I'm doing something very silly and very wrong here, but I'm not going to hide it from you. I mean, this is the sort of thing that happens. You work out, you do something perfectly okay, and then you realise you've done something completely wrong. So what shall we do? We'll delete that. Let's not muck about. Let's take this one over here, and let's clone it. Clone. Okay, and let's move it over to the other side by taking out the 0 there. The minus sign rather, and it's in the wrong place, so let us rotate it 90 degrees. We are correct here, aren't we? Yeah. And let's get the position of this one in relation to this 0 line, the distance from here to the middle here, and it's 41357. 5 feet. 41357 is the correct distance. Okay. Because that is, no, we still need, it's the clone of this one you want. Let's edit clone. Okay, and now we'll move it to minus. That takes it over there. That's the wrong movement. So it's not that one, it's this one here. And there we are, we've got it connected in, we've got it in the right place. So there you go, some of the many things that you can do wrong. We'll unlink it, because it's still the clone of that, it's connected to that. So now we'll link it to BR axle 02. Doesn't look like it's been unlinked. Oh no, it has. It's not showing here because you're looking for another mesh to link it to. There we are, it's linked up there. Try again. There we are. That looks right. Let's do it frame by frame. Yeah, there we are. Look. Silly me. Whatever I did wrong, we fixed it. And that's the sort of thing that can go wrong. It can just drive you silly. The only other thing we've got to do is make sure the axle shows through on here. So if we go into top-down view, and if we have a look at our axle, I mean, I could have done this much more simply. I'm just showing you by getting the axle the right length in the first place, and that is at 43395. 4 foot 3 inches 395. Well, and the other one's the same. 4 foot 3 inches 0.395. There we are. So that's our two axles sorted, and our eccentric cranks are sorted. Now we've got to do the eccentric pins, I think they are called. So let's go into this view. Now you can see you're looking through the model, through the meshes of the model, and we just want a simple pin, and we're going to put it down here. So what we can do is copy, why not, copy the axle, edit clone. It's already textured. We just want to move it in the 0. Let's move it down. It's a bit big for an eccentric pin, so we'll scale it a little bit. Scale it, and that'll do all three. So that's radius and length. So the length's obviously far too long because it's the whole axle, and we want more or less the correct position. You know, you can judge it by eye pretty usually. And so it's in the wrong place completely, but there it is. Look. So what we do is we move it out to one of the pins up here, under the cranks rather, the eccentrics, in the x-axis, and it's got to be sticking out enough for the connecting rods. So let's just edit the vertices, bring it up to here, and actually what we could do then is lose that face because it's buried in the eccentric crank. And very importantly, because the pivot is now still over here where it was in the full length one, let's reset center the object line to world, make sure it's safe, and let's have a look. Wherever is it now? It's on one of these round here, isn't it? Here it is. So there's the pin, eccentric pin, or whatever it's called. I'm assuming it's called a pin, and because it's from the axle, it will rotate with this. There we are. It will just swing round. And thank you, an email from Lidl. Not really that interested, but there you go. You get everything on this channel, and we want a copy of that. And so it's edit clone, and instead of 4'5" we want a plus 4 foot, so that it can come in on this one, and we just have to position it. So let's go over to this view here, and we've got it selected. Even though it's on the other side, it's on viewing it partly through the other one, partly through the one that's through that side. Hope you're keeping up with this. And I'm beginning to lose it now. We just bring that one out, and basically I've not really found a way of doing this that's going to make it other than by sort of, you know, by eye. You just got to make sure that that distance there is about the same. I suppose if you wanted to, you could make a little box which is that side and move it up there to be absolutely exact, but frankly, you know, sounds a bit, what do they call it, even retentive or something dreadful like that. Okay, so that's that one we just made. So let's make sure. Yeah, there we are. So we've got two eccentrics running around, and then what we need to do is to create eccentric pins over here as well. So again, we just do, they're pretty straightforward jobs. You shouldn't really have too much problem with this, because these are basic meshes, you know, standard primitives, which we're just cloning and copying over and making sure they're linked to the correct dummy. So let's clone that, and let's move it over. Oops, wrong way. Where is it? The one that's over here. So let's move it. Where's it gone? That's the wrong way. Even more so. Undo move. So it must be this one. I regularly get this wrong, so do not feel in any way that you're not an expert because it happens to you, because it happens to me all the time, and I would not claim to be an expert. This is just what works for me, and we're going to move that over and just estimate again, make it look similar. You can get all carried away with this. It doesn't, as long as you're fairly close, it won't look at all bad on the model. And we're going to clone this one. Clone. Okay. And what we can do there is to align it with this one. So let's do that. X position. There we are. And those are our 4 eccentric pins ready to receive the connecting rods. And of course they're all sorted. Well, maybe. Let's have a look at the animation. Whoa, ain't that fun? I love that bit. So what it is these two pins that we cloned are still connected to the dummy at the front. So we need to change that. By the way, that happens in Trainz as well if you don't do this right. Don't have to look weird. Okay, so this one, we're going to unlink it. There's the unlink. Okay, and now we're going to link it to Axle 02. Let's make sure we can see the dummy and see it flash. There it is. And we're going to unlink this one from Axle 01. When you do that, it just unlinks it. And we're going to link it to, let's see, make sure we can see it again, Axle 02 link. Okay, now when we press the animation, click on the animation, they work well, thank goodness for that. Okay, so we just stop it there. Well, I was thinking I'd get as far as making the connecting rod to connect up these in this tutorial, but I don't want them to be too long. The other one was 3/4 of an hour and this one's already heading to 20-25 minutes, so I want to keep your attention, and it can be real fine just going on and on and on and on. So for this one I'm going to end this tutorial here, and on the next tutorial I'm going to actually bring in the connecting rods and show you how to both add them in as a mesh and also how to animate them, because unlike these, which are just turning around in a circle, the connecting rod, if we just put a rod there, it would just point down, it would swing right round like a windmill. But a connecting rod, of course, it has to go like that, it has to go like that, up and down basically, not rotating, not one end connected and swinging around like a crazy thing. So to make the connecting rod, what we're going to do is we're going to add more dummies. In fact, we're going to add a dummy, a new dummy for each of the connecting rods, and those dummies will be within the hierarchy of the main axle dummy. In other words, they're going to be controlled by this dummy first of all, and then they will have their own movement in addition to that, so that they will both rotate but also keep the connecting rod horizontal as it goes around. And building those hierarchies is the way in which you build up locomotive valve gear, because a whole series, once you've got these movements sorted out, then all the other movements of the piston going in and out and rotating bits and pieces and slides and all the rest of it are developed from the hierarchy which controls the connecting rods. So that's what we'll see in the next tutorial. I'll start with the connecting rods and see how far I can get within a reasonable period of time, and take it from there. So please come back for the next part, which will be part 13. Whoa, scary. And please subscribe to my channel, because I'd like to know that there's people out there who are interested in this, and it helps me to make more of these videos. It just inspires me to make more. Okay, thanks.